It's the kickoff of the summer season in the Glass City as the 50th Old West End Festival takes over Toledo. I'm getting you set for all the festivities now on Toledo News This Morning. Well, good Saturday morning. I'm Jaden Jefferson, and thanks so much for starting your weekend with Toledo News This Morning. Now I'll soon have coverage of Toledo's Old West End Festival and also some tour of some of the homes that you can also find as part of the festival. But we begin with a check of your forecast. Today you can expect a high in the upper 80s and low in the lower 60s. The southbound US 23 on-ramp from Monroe Street in Sylvania will be closed for catch basin repair beginning on Monday at 6 a.m. and continuing through Wednesday. Detour by taking northbound US 23 to Stearns Road to southbound US 23. Well, as I mentioned at the top of the show, this weekend is Toledo's Old West End Festival. Here are the details. Today's festivities kick off with the parade, beginning near Glenwood Elementary School at 10 a.m. Today and throughout the weekend, food vendors and beer can be found in the Arboretum. Also today, the art fair will be held from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. in the garden surrounding the Toledo Museum of Art Glass Pavilion. If you don't make it out today, no worries, as it returns tomorrow with the same hours. Now let's talk about another big part of the festival, which is, of course, the home tours. Now these are homes that have a rich history, especially due to their architecture. Take a look. On Wednesday, there was a preview tour that took place, and on that tour were 5 homes. This is the first one here on Collingwood and Nestlewood. As you can see, plenty of people showed up, but they're former houses. Let's go. So we're here at 2428 Scottwood. So give us an idea of how you came across this home.
Well, Skip and I have owned 8 other houses in the neighborhood, and for a brief moment we left the neighborhood and I couldn't stand where we were living, and so I said to Skip, I'm moving. I got to get back to the neighborhood. So we came back and bought this at auction and restored it. Last house.
And it seems you have a really, really passionate relationship with this neighborhood because I think you're a familiar face here.
I am. I mean, I first moved here in 1978, bought a duplex, and then after that I bought a house from the city for under $10,000.
And just when things couldn't get more interesting, a pool.
Restored that, and then Skip and I walk into a house because I'm a realtor, and then I come home and say, sign the purchase agreement, and off again we're renovating.
And if you had to give people one interesting fact about this house that you may know, what is one?
I think the interesting thing is that in the log cabin room, which is original to the house plans, that those came from the Scott High School campus, and that Mr. Bowles, who owned this house, his father owned all of that property. And they were really shakers and movers, but they're not really well known in this area. And the fact that he left here and established Bowles Harbor and built a mansion there with a log cabin room in it, it just all keeps tying together.
We're now here at the corner of Bancroft and Collingwood at a home I'm definitely giving an A+ for greenery.
This house was built in 1901 for Edward Ford and his wife Carrie Ross. The town of Rossford is named for the two of them.
Wow.
They brought plate glass to Northwest Ohio. It's the largest house in the Toledo city limits that's left. There were other mansions all along here. They were torn down. This is the Lee house next door, and then there were 3 other houses that went all the way down to Virginia, but we lost those to blight and urban renewal. So Chuck and Finley also own the house next door.
All right, on to house 4. We are now at our second to last home, and we're back on Scottwood.
This house is amazing. Let me just tell you that. Everything's been done top to bottom. It's literally like a brand new house in the shell of an old house. So take note when you're walking through the house, things like the door hinges, the window latches, all the case molding. It is impeccable. This is probably one of the nicest examples of restoration on a historic house in the Old West End. So, and it's not my house, so I would live here any day. So, house was built in 1910 for William and Emma Beauchart, who ended up leaving this house and created Beauchart Way in Ottawa Hills. So their estate home is still standing in Ottawa Hills on their private hilltop drive. So there's a correlation with that. He was an executive with the Owens Bottle Machine Company, which then again formed Owens, Illinois.
So we've made our way to the final house on the tour, and we're still in Scotland. We only moved a few houses down. Let's check it out.
First of all, we are really honored. This house is a little gem that hasn't ever been on tour, albeit very briefly and unofficially, to raise money for the Old West End. Look at you! A lot of very private people lived here for a good 50 years, and so all the neighbors were really excited when we bought the house, and we're like, we get to see the house. But the house went through tremendous transformation from being built in 1884 as a Victorian wooden home to then being burned down to being built in the 1914, 1917 to this state, to then in the 70s becoming a doctor's office and being split for doctor's practice and his residence upstairs.
And with that, thanks for watching. I'll see you back here tomorrow for Community Focus, and hopefully you get to come out to the festival.